right. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful holiday. I decided to record a tiny little show just to drop on Christmas as I had some time this Christmas Eve waiting for some family to show up at my house. So, had a show ready to roll. So, I figured I'd go with a special episode of Run for Covers this Christmas. Hopefully, you all enjoy it, along with your holiday as a quick little break that you might mix in throughout your day. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel, and that you like, you subscribe, and you hit that alert button so you don't miss anything. All that good stuff I say each and every show all throughout the year. Hopefully it all holds true. And again, hopefully you all have a wonderful Christmas. With that said, I'm not going to waste any time. This is going to be kind of on the shorter side. There aren't a lot of books for me to go through, so it might be a short little show, maybe about 15 minutes long, but hopefully, like I said, it's a nice little break for your day. And with that said, if you want to see this episode of Run for Covers, just hang out for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so since it's right around holiday time, I figured I would change the format a little bit for this show, just for the holiday season, and go with this kind of Christmassy theme, even with the backgrounds, etc., along with the chosen selection of books for this week. So hopefully you don't mind. And the run of covers I want to talk about are the very first run of DC sweater weather variants from 2024. There's another set that came out this year, 2025, which we can cover maybe in a few weeks or something like that, but we'll save that for another time, as we're going to go with the set from 2024, the original run of these sweater weather covers, where DC decided to go on this seasonal swimsuit issue kick of covers that some have hit. As you know, if you've been watching the marketplace, some of these, whether they be cheesecake covers or beefcake covers or whatever you want to call them, some of these sexified DC characters have actually spiked the market with some interesting premium price type of sales. So with that said, let's dive into these sweater weather variants and see which ones are the tops of the pile, see which ones are the gems of the bunch, etc. So with that, like I said, I'm playing with the format a little bit, just having some fun this holiday season, and hopefully you're on board for that. And we will go with our first selection and our first book from the run. We are going to check out this Birds of Prey number 6. This, I will tell you, was one of the first Pablo Villalobos books that I kind of remember kind of catching my eye. I was like, it looks like Adam Hughes, because he does have a little bit of a Hughes touch to his art, though it is unique and distinct of his own. I can tell the difference. I'm sure many of you can as well. But at the time, I was thinking this is Adam Hughes-esque. And yeah, Pablo Villalobos kind of hit the scene, I think, around that time, at least for me. Again, for me, when I noticed his art. And this one is an interesting cover. And some of these are not that expensive. But if you look at some of the other ones in the pile, you start to ask yourself the whys and the hows, and why some hit, some didn't, and maybe there's opportunity there. Again, I'm not saying that there is, and I'm not telling you that these are going to increase in value and all of a sudden this is going to be a $100 book or anything like that. I'm just saying be mindful of the set, and you make decisions for yourself based off of these prices. With this first one selling for about 10 to 12 bucks. Yes, there are cheaper sales, some still at cover. Some go a little bit beyond that, could hit for 15, 20, depending on condition, etc. But by and large, this is a $10 to $12 book with recent sales. As far as listings go, again, it's kind of in that same kind of range, maybe 10 to 15, a little bit of a wider mark. So with that, this is still a pretty cheap and affordable book if you can find it. I mean, the cover price alone is still $5 to start. So that's not much of a premium at this point, even after well, it's only really been a year. Well, I guess it's kind of 2 years, because these sweater weathers, I believe, came out in the early part of 2020. I guess these would have come out in 2024, but they were 2023. I don't know. Point being, we're getting a third run of sweater weathers coming out this upcoming January. So yeah, I guess it would have been 2 years ago. So with that said, sorry, working through the calendar again. Mine's kind of half in, half out, just having fun here, filming a little show for you, and try to get back on track with CGC 9.8s, which they're not that many, and they're not that expensive. And when you think of what grading costs these days, a CGC 9.8 for 40 bucks feels pretty close to cost when you factor in the grading costs, insurance, shipping there, shipping back. Just saying. Granted, things like shipping could be kind of spread over a number of books, etc. But Just pointing out, $40 ain't much of an increase off of that book when you consider how much it costs to grade these days. But that is our first book in the set. So from here, let's move on to our next one and take a look at this one from Lyrics Lee or Leslie Lee, whether you go by the nickname or her real name. Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville. What is this, number 6? I think this is the final issue in the run. We've got both fire and ice with this one. Little popsicle, little swimsuits in the snow, DC being a little cheeky here. Again, cheap one, much like the last one, but even cheaper is this one. Only sells for like $5 to $8. That's basically cover price, maybe a tiny bit more. But what's interesting on this one is when I looked at average listings, there are cover price ones, but then there's ones listed as much as $20. There's like a 15 in there, 12, 10, etc. Kind of a wide stretch of asking prices on this. Why somebody would pay 20 when there's a $5 option? I mean, you could argue condition, but considering these newer books with these cardstock covers, they hold up pretty well. It's I don't know. It's up to you. It's you make the call when you look out there of what's available. But just showing that there is a wider range on this one, but the other books seem to be more consistent in that 10 to 12 kind of mark. With that, 9.8s on this bad boy are only about $30. That's basically grading costs without even paying for the shipping, etc. So yeah, not much there. But again, these could be opportunities. Just because these aren't super valuable now, they could be opportunities down the line. I don't know for certain. I'm just throwing that out there, But with that all said, I want to remind you before we move on further into the set, anybody out there, you need your supplies this Christmas, this upcoming year, go over to BCW, use my code RENA10 for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your bags, your boards, your long boxes, your short boxes, your top loaders and CGC boxes, and your stuff for your cards like pages and top loaders for those, the penny sleeves, etc. Basically anything to keep your comics or collectibles safe. You can find something over at BCW and you can save 10% off your whole order by using my code RENA10. You help out the channel, you get yourself a few bucks off with a discount. You really got nothing to lose if you got to buy those supplies anyway. So keep that in mind. And with that, let's move on with the list and take a look at our next one by Kevin Wada. And this is a little bit of a mix between the two. We got a little Beefcake Bruce hanging out with Catwoman. So you got Selena Kyle there in her robe. She's more covered up than he is. He's got the little tweak going there, but Kevin Wada giving us this Batman 143, as it looks like they're on a little snowy alpine vacation here. Maybe some sort of ski lodge and hitting up the hot tub outside. I don't know. But this, kind of like the last two, isn't too expensive. This one is about $5 to $15 on the average sale, which is interesting because, yes, I did see a $15 sale for this book. Meanwhile, listings right now are only $3 to $6. So that's less than cover to cover, because this is a $5.99 book. That's kind of weird to me. And that there were higher price sold than what's available right now. So just putting that out there. Putting it out there. You do with that information what you like. But CGC 9.8s, meanwhile, are only $37 on an average. And there are not a lot of these. Don't get me wrong. Don't take this as like, oh, there's hundreds being sold at this price. There's only like a couple out there, if even some of these even have some. Like I've looked some of these up and I'm going to GPA and there's like one sale or 5 sales throughout the entire year or 2 sales. And like, this is kind of where we're at. Not expensive. $37 for a 9.8 of this Batman 143. But yet there is a 9.8 listed for $100 right now. Somebody going fishing? Maybe. Doing a little ice fishing here in this seasonal cold weather. I don't know. But we will leave that one there. Move on to the next book, which is this one from Tiago del Silva, if I'm saying that properly. Green Lantern number 8. We got a bunch of lanterns hanging out in this warm spring. Looks like they're in Japan at the time because I see the little hit monkeys back there chilling out with them as well. We got a little, various lanterns. Looks like Kyle and Jessica Cruz, etc., chilling out and showing off their bikini wear in the winter. With that said, this book, also pretty cheap, averaging about $6 on the sale, which is cover price. This is a $5.99 book, $6 average sale. It's still right there at cover price. This is a 2-year-old variant, not an incentive. It was open order. How many are out there? No way to know for certain. So it's all guesswork. No matter what anybody might tell you, There's no official numbers that we can reach to or go to. It's kind of a crapshoot guessing how many copies of these things are out there. But with that said, listings on this one, it's like $5 to $10. So a little undercover, maybe a little bit of a premium. Who knows? We'll see where this one will go. But this one in 9.8, meanwhile, $17. This is why you don't auction slabs. In my opinion, do not auction a slab unless it's a hot book, because you run the risk of that had to cost more than $17 to grade. So you're not only giving away the book for free, the service that you paid for, you're getting a partial return on your investment. Like, you were losing money with that sale for sure. But $17. Meanwhile, I saw that there are 9.8s also listed for $40 to $60. Good luck to those sellers. That's kind of more the range where these kind of cover price books find themselves these days. But $17, rough outing. Now, let's get on to the next book here, and we'll look at the Nick Robles Nightwing. Yep, Nightwing doing a snow angel. Hey, it's not for everybody, but this is out there. There's Nightwing 111, and it may not be for everybody, but it is worth a pretty penny. So it is worth keeping an eye out for that little swimsuit in the snow, because this bad boy sells on average for $30 to $50. That's right. $30 to $50 is what this is sold for recently. Yes, it's a $5.99 cover. This top part of the Tom Taylor run of Nightwing, classic run. But yeah, this sweater weather cover is $30 to $50 average sale. Meanwhile, listings are even more at $40 to $60. So $40 to $100. I'm sorry, $40 to $100. That's right, $100 on the higher end. And that asking price makes this one the star of the list. So this one is the one to look out for from the list. This is the gem, the prize right now, at least currently, based off of what the market is willing to pay for. So keep an eye out for this one when you're digging in those boxes. Do not just be discounting the fact that, what is this weird swimsuit Dick Grayson? I don't want this. Other people do. And what I find even more interesting, as you saw some of those lost sales for 9.8s, this is a premium price book that has a healthy premium. I mean, asking $100. Currently, no 9.8 sales to speak of. So where will the market be set? Could this be a $200 book? $150? I don't know. We'll find out when we see a sale. But for right now, no 9.8 sales to speak of. So definitely one to keep an eye on, as those raw books are selling pretty well on their own. We'll find out what a graded sale will do once somebody decides to crack one of those bad boys open. Now, we still have a small chunk of books to cover before we wrap up this set. But before I do, I want to remind anybody out there to check out my buddy Bruce over at Kingdom of Nerds. He has a channel. He is also on my channel here. Been filling in on Wednesdays for me on the Tax Show, but he has his own channel with plenty of good stuff over there with his DCU variant shows. He's got shows about pop culture and movies, Star Trek for you Star Trek fans, etc. He is kind of it's a brother channel to our channel here. So please go sub up to Kingdom of Nerds if you haven't already, and check out all the content that Bruce is putting out a few days a week. He's about as busy as I am, except he's retired, where I still have a day job. So I will still hold that over him, that he's retired. He's got plenty of time to put out all that content, where meanwhile, I still got to do the day job work. But with that said, go check out all the good stuff that Bruce is putting out on his channel over at Kingdom of Nerves. Link down below, as always, on the front of the channel and in this video itself, before we go on to our next book. And Bruce is a huge DC fan as well, so I'm sure he'll be looking at these sweater weather covers along with the rest of you too. But our next book looks like one of those Fabio romance novel covers, and this is Supes and Lois Ariel Diaz cover. Yeah, look at him warming up by the fire. Yeah, I don't know how else to put this. It straight up looks like one of those books my wife reads, like one of those weird romance novels that keep you warm on a cold night, I guess. This book, surprisingly, I thought this would have been a little more expensive. I would have thought, hey, yeah, people are kind of into this. But it's still only $5 to $10 book. So $5 to $10 currently as far as sales go, as well as listings. So it's still around cover, maybe up to $10. I mean, it's a $6 cover because, DC with the variants, they usually charge that extra buck on their cardstock covers, and regular Superman's a $4.99 book. So $5.99 is where this one's at. So just saying, 9.8 on this one, $50. So this one has a little bit of more of a premium on the 9.8 sale. Something to keep in mind where the other ones were more in the $30 to $40 kind of range. So I don't know. Could be opportunity there. Could just be a random book that nothing ever happens with it. Just saying. It's part of this run, and we needed to talk about it, along with our next one from Dan Mora. I'm a big Dan Mora fan. Again, an artist that's kind of caught my attention the last couple of years. I just like his style, and I like his renditions of a lot of these DC heroes. And Dan Mora giving us, Nightwing and Starfire, along with a little Garth there. Don't forget Beast Boy, pretending to be a penguin, but it's still Beast Boy. So a sneaky little appearance on that cover. This one also does pretty well for itself. Another one to keep an eye out for when you're digging in those boxes, because the average sale on this is $25 to $70. That's right. I saw a $69.99 sale out there. So $25 to $70 on average for this Dan Mora Titans number 8. Sweater weather books, some hit, some not. Why these and not those? I don't know. Who knows? Will the hot ones come down? Will the cheap ones climb up? Who knows? But at some point, one think there might be a leveling out of these things. I don't know. Just saying, opportunity could be there. But with that, average listings on this, 50 to 70. So there's a higher floor on the listings on this, but still that $69.99 is that top end price for this book currently. Will this track down the Nightwing 111 and take the prize as the book of choice of the 2024 Christmas sweater weather books from DC? I don't know. But like the Nightwing book, there are no 9.8 sales to speak of. So again, those premium raw sales could translate into pretty high 9.8 sales once we see them. Don't know for certain, but there's one last book not to be forgotten. One more book in this list. This is a Laura Braga Power Girl, building a snowman. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I think a lot of people, miss this kind of thing. They just don't realize it's out there. Power Girl number 6. Power Girl's not a big selling title in and of itself. So how many of this sweater weather variant are there? I don't know. But it's still pretty cheap, with it only selling for about $5, which is cover price on this one. So regular Power Girl is only a $3.99 book. So that dollar premium on the variant with the cardstock cover makes it only $5. So that's where it is on the average sale, with the average listing is still right around cover, but up to like $12. So there is some more hope and speculation on some of those listings as people are seeking a bit of a premium. Will they get it? I don't know. But $5 to $12 on those raw listings. What makes things a little more interesting is that I did see a 9.8 sale go for $60 on this one. So figure that out. You see all the prices out. Some of these are very close and very consistent. And meanwhile, some of the 9.8s are hitting $17 or $30, where others are hitting $50 and $60, all for cover price to a little bit extra type of books. And then meanwhile, the big boys of the pile, the $50 to $70 kind of sales have no 9.8s. So I don't know. But with that, that is the list. It is a smaller list. I kind of dragged it out a little bit to kind of stretch it out to make this closer to a 20-minute show like normal. But that is our set of 8 for the 2024 DC sweater weather books. As I mentioned, there is a 2025 list. I thought about combining them, but I think separating them was the way to go. Here are all 8 books. Again, just to show you them. We've got the first, this is the last 6, and then we'll roll back in to those first 2 as well, so you can see them all as a set. If you had the whole set, you might have done well for yourself. But of this grouping, of this 8, the top 3 results and the stars of the pile, stars of the set, are these 3. So based off of the prices, the average listings currently, and the more consistent listings, this is the top 3, where the third could have been argued. The third could have been argued with a bunch of those books. But consistently, that Birds of Prey Villalobos was both asking and selling 10 to 15, where like that Fire and Ice was asking 5 to 20. So a much wider, much wider range. Sure, a higher high, but a much lower. I went with the more consistent $10 to $15 listings for the Birds of Prey for that third spot. That Titans number 8 by Dan Mora, 50 to 70 for that second spot, while the prize with the higher high and kind of a pretty close floor, that Nightwing at Nightwing 111 is first place with that $4,100 range on Raw listings. So with that, those are the stars of this set, the 3 to look out for most when you're digging through those boxes. And until next time, again, I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, had a happy holiday, got everything that you wanted. Hopefully Santa was good to you. Got to spend some time with family, friends, loved ones, and I'll see you all soon with some more content. Don't worry, plenty more coming your way from the channel and all of us here. Thank you, and I appreciate you all. All right, bye.